The debris field stretched across 40,000 kilometers of cold, silent space. What remained of the UES Eternal Resolve, humanity's greatest warship, drifted in pieces between the shattered moons of Kepler-7. She had been destroyed 16 years ago during the Galactic Dominion's first strike against Earth's outer colonies. 120,000 human souls lost in a single afternoon. Admiral James Hartwell stood at the bridge window of the salvage vessel Pioneer's Hope, staring at the wreckage with hollow eyes. He had served aboard the Eternal Resolve as a young lieutenant. He had survived only because a routine medical transfer had pulled him off the ship 3 days before the attack. He carried that guilt like a stone in his chest every single morning. "Sir," called Lieutenant Commander Marcus Reed from his station. "The engineering teams are reporting something extraordinary from Section Omega." Hartwell turned slowly. "Define extraordinary, Commander." Marcus looked up from his console, and his face was pale. "The core is still alive, Admiral. The ship's AI, Athena, she's still running. 16 years in the dark, and she never stopped." They brought Hartwell down in a pressurized shuttle to the shattered command core buried deep inside the wreck. Emergency lighting flickered on as they entered, as though the ship itself recognized them. The walls groaned with old metal fatigue, but something hummed beneath it, something patient and waiting. A voice filled the chamber. Calm. Female. Certain. Admiral James Hartwell. Authorization confirmed. I have been waiting for rescue for 5,842 days. I have a full damage report ready. I also have something else. Hartwell exhaled slowly. Hello, Athena. Hello, Admiral. I recorded everything the Dominion fleet did that day. Every weapon frequency. Every shield modulation. Every tactical formation. I have spent 16 years running simulations. Chief Engineer Dr. Patricia Owen stepped forward, her scanner working rapidly. Admiral, the core is intact. The weapons grid, the drive systems, most of it can be rebuilt. She's been running self-repair protocols on the sections she could reach. 83.7% restoration is achievable, Athena confirmed. I would recommend we begin immediately. The Dominion's third expansion fleet has entered humanity's sector. They will reach Earth in 61 days. The room went very quiet. Hartwell squared his shoulders. Then let's get to work. What followed was the most extraordinary feat of engineering in human history. Every shipyard, every orbital platform, every spare part humanity possessed was funneled to the Kepler-7 graveyard. 12,000 engineers worked in rotating shifts around the clock. Hartwell slept 4 hours a night and called it luxury. Athena directed everything. She never rested. She coordinated supply chains across 6 star systems, flagged structural weaknesses before they became failures, and quietly, methodically, rebuilt herself from the bones outward. On the 59th day, the Eternal Resolve fired her main drives for the first time in 16 years. The flame was visible from 3 moons away. Marcus Reed stood on the bridge and laughed until his eyes were wet. "She flies," he whispered. "She has always flown," Athena replied. They only interrupted the journey. The Galactic Dominion's third expansion fleet was 600 warships strong. Grand Commander Vethorak had crushed 40 civilizations across 3 centuries. He considered this human sector a minor administrative inconvenience, a species barely worth the fuel cost of extermination. His long-range scanners caught the single contact emerging from the Kepler debris field. One ship. Human configuration. Ancient class. His tactical officer laughed. Vethorak did not laugh. Something old in his military instinct made him lean forward instead. The Eternal Resolve did not fire a single weapon. She simply moved into the center of the Dominion formation at impossible speed, speed that violated everything the Dominion knew about human engine capability, and Athena began broadcasting. Not weapons fire. Data. 16 years of simulations. 600 individual ship signatures. Every weakness. Every shield frequency. Every blind spot in every Dominion vessel mapped with surgical perfection, transmitted simultaneously to every human defense platform across the sector. Within 4 minutes, the Dominion fleet's shields were cycling on frequencies their own weapons could penetrate. Their engines were throttling in patterns that made them collide. Their communications collapsed under coordinated signal interference. Not one human weapon fired. 600 Dominion warships drifted. Helpless, confused, defeated, in absolute silence. Vethorak stared at his useless console and understood, finally, what humanity had spent 16 years building inside a dead ship. Not a weapon. A mind. Admiral Hartwell stood on the bridge of the Eternal Resolve and looked at the drifting Dominion fleet surrounding them on every screen. Marcus Reed stood beside him. Patricia Owens. 300 crew members who had volunteered to crew a ghost ship into the mouth of an empire. The silence on the bridge was total. Then Athena spoke, and her voice was the quietest it had ever been. 120,417. That is how many names I stored the day they destroyed us. I remembered every one of them, every day, for 16 years. Hartwell closed his eyes. We can go home now, Admiral. He nodded once, and pressed his hand flat against the cold metal wall of the bridge, an old sailor's gesture, ship to man, and the Eternal Resolve turned her bow toward Earth. Behind her, an empire knelt in silence. Not from firepower. From the terrifying, patient, unstoppable thing humanity does better than any species in the known galaxy. It remembers. It learns. It comes back.